Welcome to the Christian Campfire Conversations podcast, where we have real conversations about real topics. Our goal is to educate believers in order to fulfill the Great Commission. So without further ado, let's get on to the podcast.
What is up, my basic family? We are here with another episode of Christian Campfire Conversations 2-3 podcast. My name is Max Warren. I'm joined by my co-host Keegan Lowen. Keegan, what's going on?
What's up, gang?
Gang.
What's going on? What's going on is it's Sunday afternoon, and this is the first Sunday afternoon in probably 6 months that we haven't had football. So
what are you doing? Are you like...
Literally nothing has changed other than my team's back-to-back Super Bowl champions, so that's fun.
Same here.
Yeah, shut up. You don't even...
I love sports.
You can't claim them now. That's not how that works.
Dude, I've been a Chiefs fan since like...
Yeah, but you can't just claim them after a whole season of outright just like not paying attention. That's not how that works.
Hey, I watched like 75% of the Super Bowl. I skipped down the second
What were you
quarter.
doing the other 25%, huh?
Sleeping.
Huh?
Dude, okay. That first half was kind of boring.
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
I ate a lot of food the first half.
Ah, same. I had a lot of food, and then I was kind of passed on the couch. Or I tried to.
I think the food at my party was poisonous. Just kidding. It made me feel pretty crappy, though.
My food was pretty baller. Not gonna lie. Shout out to all the moms that cooked for us here. But anyway.
Big into moms, are you?
Anyway, yeah, you're right. It's first weekend without Super Bowl, so that you can listen to us, right? Since you don't have football going on.
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
listen to the
So
podcast.
hypothetically, on Monday. There's
Yeah,
no
but-
Monday Night Football, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
That's my point.
That's his point.
So Keegan, you
Yes.
know, since we're not like fake podcast, and I genuinely haven't asked you before. This is not sarcastic.
Yep, never.
Not never, but like in the past week.
Okay.
How's your week been? That's what That's where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
Because I have this is Keegan just showed up. I have not talked to him.
Yeah, I just come in whenever I'm ready and leave whenever I'm ready. My week was good. Let's see. I just really remember Thursday and Friday. Monday through Wednesday was a blur.
Same.
Views, bro.
Same.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah. Thursday, Friday, I went to a conference in Wichita with my boss.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Really appreciate that.
Really appreciate the information there. That sounds like fun though.
Yeah, that was fun. Learned quite a bit. So, did that Thursday, Friday. Let's see, Saturday. Saturday played some video games. Real productive.
Yeah, I played with you.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
You were
Mom.
just there.
I did not play video games. I wasn't supposed to be looking at screens.
Oh.
Wink.
Yeah. Well, we had colorblind hood-ons. It's all right.
So if you didn't catch my hint there, since Keegan hasn't asked how my week's going, I'll just tell you.
How was your week, Max? Tell me about it.
So I got a concussion on Tuesday at the basketball game.
That's not funny.
Is that funny, dude?
Nope.
I had a brain injury.
That makes it sound a lot more important than it actually is.
It is a brain injury.
Did you hit your melon?
Yeah. I bounced my melon off the floor.
Melon's cracked, so
if you guys want us, I will. We can post the video.
We'll put it at the end of the video. So
Yeah. Or we can just.
Or
we can
actually,
we can post it. Shout out to KCMC for.
Click right here, and you can view Max hitting his head.
Yeah. Shout out to KCMC for filming that.
Yep.
But yeah, I got a concussion on Tuesday, so I haven't been able to play any basketball. I didn't get to play on Friday, and I haven't been able to practice. You know what's kind of weird though, which I get it, it's not contact, but like my recovery process to get back was like on Thursday I walked for 15 minutes, and then the next day like I had to run for a maximum of 30 minutes.
You haven't done that in years.
So I ran cross country, bro. So I ran for 16 and a half minutes on Friday, but I can't play in the game.
Because you can't keep your melon off the ground.
No, I got undercut is what happened.
Oh, we're not
Got my legs taken out from under me. Not making any assumptions. It's probably just an accident. But yeah, that's my week's. My week hasn't been bad. Hopefully I get cleared on Monday when this, 8 hours after this comes out, 9 hours after this comes out.
Bet.
I'll be going to the doctor and stuff.
What's the address of the doctor so you can get all the fans coming there?
I don't want another Kai Cenat scenario that happened in New York. I don't want to do that.
So,
you know what I mean?
hey, I know, for all you Kansas people, which is probably everybody that listens, this probably doesn't help you at all, but our friend who was on our podcast, episode 9, Jimmy Clifton, is going on tour. He happens to be coming to Dodge City, Kansas. You know, me and your boy got tickets.
Oh, yeah.
And they're sold out now, so that's why I say it's kind of irrelevant. But
I don't know about the other places.
yeah, I mean, if you
So,
want to go to
Unless, okay, so there's
Indiana.
nowhere west of Dodge, I don't think. I
Yeah,
think,
we're the
Dodge
farthest
City is the
west.
farthest west that he's going. So, like, if you're, like, North Carolina, if you are, like, there's one in Missouri, there's a couple in Texas. Like, if you're in that area, hey, guys, go get them because they're flying out fast. And also,
there's a couple in Texas too.
just go listen to Jimmy Clifton
Yeah.
and Josiah Queen because they make some pretty good music.
Yep, they don't suck.
It's not like the basic, radio music.
It's not corny
that.
Christian music.
It's not. It's not that.
It's not written for 40-year-old soccer mom.
Your parents probably won't like it, so that's why
That's
you like
your
it.
first reason. Also,
Uh,
remember the 10 Commandments. Honor your father
that's
and
not-
mother. So
that was a joke,
it was a joke, not to be against the 10 Commandments.
but also kind of true. Like for instance, my parents don't like Chris Benzema.
that's
which-
probably a red flag, man.
For who? My parents?
Red flag.
They just grew up in a different era. Okay.
Oh, is that what we're saying?
'Cause
Because
I
we're
remember-
uncultured now.
Because I remember I was like, this was like the week before I went to Chris's concert in Kansas City, and I was playing. We were on the way to Dodge, and I was playing Chris Benzema, and before every song ended that I played of his, like I had a mix in there, and like 3 songs, halfway through, my dad or my mom would just skip it. I was like, dang, I know I'm
Brutal.
throwing you on the bus, throwing you under the bus here, guys, but. If you listen to this, you'll know, and I'll
Yeah.
and I'll
And
know.
you'll get heck
and then,
for it.
Yeah, exactly. Please don't ground me.
You need to move out. Oh wait, you're in high school. Womp womp. Sorry, that was mean.
That was mean, man.
What do you think about Exodus?
Like the book,
Yes.
or like Jordan Peterson's deal on Exodus, or like how the memories from Tuesday night's game exodused from my
Exodus
mind.
did.
Yeah. So what do you mean? Like what do you mean? What I think about Exodus?
Cool book or no?
W book.
W book. No,
All the 66 books are W's.
W. Yes. Okay. Actually, I think this is where I want to take this. I have been trying to do a read through the Bible in a year, and I haven't been unsuccessful, but I also am like 9 days behind.
Okay.
So better than I thought I'd be doing. Not gonna lie.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's
But it's
fine.
hard. It's hard to read through the Bible. Have you done it?
No. I've read through the New Testament, and I've read like 10 books in the Old or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
So-
It went like for me. It went from Genesis 1 to like 12, and then it went Job, all of Job.
Yeah, see, I'm not a huge fan of that method. And okay, like I don't like it's
Such a hater.
It's a personal
Tara's a
preference.
W.
It's a personal preference. Okay, there's nothing wrong with skipping around the Bible, but so Pastor Tim, this is what he told me because I asked him one time. I was like, because you know me, like I'm like, if I like to study the Bible, like I like to just unearth like every detail of it. And so I asked him, I was like, hey, would it be more beneficial for me right now, where I'm at, to just do a broad read of the entire Bible, or to like look at like just like a verse every day, and like study it? And he said just to like while you're like your age, or you young adults out there, get a broad version of the Bible and then go in and study that, because once you read through something, then you start to pick up on different details every time you read it.
Yeah.
And
go
so that's what I've been trying to do now. And like, so the method that he gave me to do it was, so I read Matthew through Acts,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm going back and reading the whole New Old Testament, and then I'm gonna read the rest of the New Testament, which I've already read like all the New Testament. I'm not like flexing or anything, but that's just the truth. So I just need to finish out the Old Testament. I'm in Judges right now.
Yeah. Well, and I think I looked through it briefly for the most part. So like it went Genesis 1 through 12, then Job, then came back, finished Genesis, then go in Exodus, Leviticus. So it's just there's a little bit of skipping around.
Yeah.
It'll be probably a little bit different in the New Testament because those are kind of mixed around.
Yeah, see, like the thing is, like I like about reading just like one book at a time is because then you get the full story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, like you're reading a book. You know, like if you were to read, I don't know why the first book that's coming to my mind is Hatchet by like Gary Paulson.
Yeah.
You know, like you read in grade school. Okay, so like if you were to read that book and you were like to skip around in it, like you could understand maybe what's going on, but it wouldn't be as like nuanced. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's
I
definitely
can understand that.
Yeah.
I can
And like I'm
understand
not
that.
saying that if you skip around like you're not studying your
It's
Bible
actually
right.
against God's will.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just speaking from a personal preference.
Yeah.
I would prefer to read, you know, if I'm going to read the book of Job, which I have, which is long,
I
Kinda
read. Oh, dude,
kind of repetitive.
he got like he got me down in life. Not gonna lie, like it was.
It's depressing, man.
It is.
It's
Like
depressing.
Job had a tough life, but
He had a tough ride there.
and it was
And then,
hard.
and then all
It's-
his friends were just dogging on him.
I know it was.
You know?
And then the last, like, she had 3 friends, and the last friend's like, he starts off good. He's like, yeah, Job, I really like loved how you persevered through this. He's like, but I think part of this is because of what you've done. Like, oh my,
Yes,
like a
dude.
broken
Yeah,
record.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I just waited for all you guys to speak for 35 chapters, and now since I'm young and I've listened to you guys, I'm gonna speak. And then throws his 2 cents in there. And yeah, dude, it's like, should we talk about Job? I'm down to talk about Job.
I just read it, so I should know a fair bit.
It's been a little bit, but
Oh, you're a little rusty.
my mind is.
Yeah.
I got the concussion brain. So,
So,
the book of Job. We enter into the scene, right?
mhm.
I think we enter into, like, we see this heavenly scene. Am I correct on that? Like, we're in heaven.
I don't
and
remember.
Satan. Okay, wait. Okay, so there's a prologue here. Okay, so it talks about Job. He's the land of Uz. I can't remember how it's pronounced. And then, so you know, he talks about how his family he has 7 sons, 3 daughters. He owns 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 donkeys, and a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the East. And so
Mhm.
he's talking about how his family's at a birthday party. And then one day, here's what I was talking about. On the day of angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. So Satan comes with the angels to see God, to meet with God. And he says, the Lord said to Satan, where have you come from? Satan answered the Lord, from roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it. Okay, so yeah, we know that. I mean, we know that God allowed Satan to, you know, kill Job's whole family, to take
Minus his wife.
minus his wife, right? And then to take all his financial, like his 7,000 sheep and his thousands of oxen and like all his servants and stuff like that. And then, you know, through that, his
Wait,
wife.
one sec. There's one thing you're missing. The only thing that God said is you can't touch the man.
Yeah. And then
You can't kill the man.
you
Like,
can't kill him.
right.
Yeah. Right. Because Satan's trying to be like, oh, Job will, you know, disavow you. He won't
Yeah,
even
right away.
acknowledge you, you know, right away. And then Job doesn't do it. He perseveres. And then his wife's like, hey, Job, come on. Like, is God really there?
Mhm.
Like, is he actually there? And then
That's after all his livestock's dead and he has
everything.
bumps on his skin. What is the disease that he had?
Oh, I don't exactly remember. Let me find it.
It's the old chicken pox,
Yeah.
but
Shit.
worse.
Yeah, I mean all his family. I mean, he had like 10 kids, and they all
Yeah.
died.
So Job goes up with his 3 friends.
Yeah. So then, when Job's 3 friends, Eliphaz, Temanite, Bildad, the Shunammite, and Zophar, the Naamathite,
Good job.
thank you, heard about all the troubles that had come upon him, they set out from their homes and met together by agreement to go and sympathize with him and comfort him. When they saw him from a distance, they could hardly recognize him. They began to weep aloud, and they tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads. They sat on the ground with him for 7 days and 7 nights. No one said a word to him, because they saw how great his suffering was. So these are real ones.
Yeah, that's not a bad.
They're day ones.
That's not a bad first response to
Yeah, it's just to go
someone being and going through all of that. Because like we think about our struggles are not all our animals dying, not all of our family dying.
Yeah.
Like most generally speaking, our struggles are a lot less than that.
Yeah, exactly. And I like how, you know, they were there for him. They
One other thing, he didn't lose his wife, but had to leave her because she was telling him to.
she was like,
go
"Hey,
against God."
Yeah, go against God. God's not going to be there for you. And so they sat on the ground with him for 7 days, 7 nights. And so after this, Job speaks. And then they go through, I'm not going to describe this because there's literally 40 chapters of this.
There's a lot of repetitiveness,
You know,
but it all adds to the value of it.
It does, and it really, basically Eliphaz and his peers, like Job's friends, they were basically arguing that Job had done something wrong, and God is punishing him for it. And Job is saying, "Look, no, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm righteous in God's sight."
Right, and not Job. That was not Job saying that he was completely perfect. There was nothing that he had not taken before God. He was not trying to hide anything from him.
Yeah.
Everything that Job had, because Job was not a perfect person. The only perfect man that lived on earth was Jesus. And so Job was seen as perfect in God's eyes because he had been cleansed of all of that. It's not to say that he was perfect. So Job knew that there was nothing that God didn't know about.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of themes within the book of Job. We see, obviously, suffering, the friend's response to the suffering, trusting God through the suffering.
Right.
We also kind of learn about, we also can kind of see about Satan and God's relationship, like right now. Satan, because I remember believing this, like when I was younger, was like there was like a common lie that like God can't be around sin. And I think that kind of came from like a Sunday school, like almost simplifying something, like almost like the dangerous level of like, God never sins, of like God can never be around sin. I don't know if I misinterpreted it, but saying that, Satan can't, like God was in the presence of Satan, like God is obviously powerful enough to be in the...
He can strike him down at any time.
Yeah, exactly. That Satan has to... And also, it shows God's power because, like, Satan has to ask God before he does something.
Right.
To
He's
Job.
like, hey, I want to put Job through all this, and I think he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna be able to. I think he'll betray you the first chance he gets.
Yeah.
I think one other thing we learned from the book of Job, specifically, is how to lament.
Yeah.
Or to put that in simpler terms, how do we share our troubles with God? And I think within this book, and then also looking at King David in Psalms multiple times, and Lamentations, as the name of the book implies, we see how what seems like a really upset person, they're saying like, God, everything in my life is going wrong. Where are you? I don't see you.
Yeah.
And God doesn't frown at that.
No.
I think that's an important thing as a Christian to realize that we can tell God exactly what we're thinking.
Yeah.
Because he already knows.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not gonna. Yeah. I mean, he already knows if we're not very happy with him or something like that.
Yeah.
And another thing I think we learned from the book of Job.
Oh, just gotta one up me, don't you?
Yeah. is that dinosaurs roam the earth at the same time as humans.
Interesting. What makes you think that?
Well, in the book of Job, chapter 40. So this is God talking. So
this is the best thing you took from this book.
Yep. This is the only thing I learned from the book of Job, actually. So he, like, all his friends, Job is like talking, they're talking back and forth, and then the Lord chimes in here. The Lord God starts talking, and he says, "Look at Behemoth, which I made along with you, and which feeds on grass like an ox, with what strength it has in its loins, what power in the muscles of its belly. Its tail sways like a cedar. The sinews of its thighs are close-knit. Its bones are tubes of bronze. Its limbs like rods of iron. It ranks first among the works of God. Yet its maker can approach it with the sword. The hills bring up its produce, and all the wild animals play nearby." So, if you think about like an elephant, right? Does an elephant have a tail like a cedar?
No, they have small tails, don't they?
What about like a rhino?
Rhinos have small tails.
Yeah. So like this animal, though that's like big, and it eats grass like an ox. It's not a meat eater.
So it's a stegosaurus.
Is that the one with the really long neck?
I think that's right.
Or no, that was the one with the spiky tail. I was trying to look it up today. I was thinking about this.
Yeah, I might be
Either
wrong.
way, it's the one with like it has a tail like a sea. There's no like modern animal like it, and so I think that this is, I think that this is a, I think this is a dinosaur. I think it,
The good dinosaur?
yeah. Oh, I think it's that same type of dinosaur.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
think it
what I'm
could be.
yeah.
I think it like could be. I can't remember the name. Why am I drawing a blank on the name? We need, yeah. But I think that it's very, very probable that God is referring to a dinosaur here.
Okay.
And
How does that affect? How does that
And I also think.
Go ahead.
And I also think that even in this chapter 41, that the Lord could be. I'm not an absolute about this. I wasn't absolute about the dinosaur one either. But I think there's good indication that even like dragons might even exist.
Interesting.
Were you at church when Tim preached on this?
Yeah. It's been a couple years ago, though, right?
Yeah, it has. So then he goes on, and in chapter 41, he talks about this beast called the Leviathan is the name of it. And so he's talking about how big it is. Can you fill its hide with harpoons or its head with fishing spears? If you lay a hand on it, you will remember the struggle and never do it again. Any hope of subduing it is false. The mere sight of it is overpowering. So he talks about like this massive animal. I will not fail to speak of Leviathan's limbs, its strength, and its graceful form. Who can penetrate its double coat of armor? Who dares opens the door of its mouth, ringed with it about with fearsome teeth? Its back has rows of shields. So he talks about this thing, and then he says in verse 19, flames stream from its mouth, sparks of fire shoot out.
Interesting.
Smoke pours from its nostrils, as from a boiling pot over burning reeds. Its breath sets coals ablaze, and flames dart from its mouth. So, and I think with like all the legends that we hear of like dragons from like tons of different cultures across the world, like I think it's very possible.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
like, I'm definitely not gonna say with absolutes, but like even at the Creation Museum, they have a deal about it there. Answers in Genesis. Like when you first walk in, like looking across the world to see all the other cultures and their legends about dragons.
That's interesting. Yeah. And yeah, I guess the only practical thing I can take from that is there's probably a good chance that there's a very good chance that there was dinosaurs on the ark, and there was a very good chance that there's a chance that there was dragons, but how big they are it doesn't really say. So the pictures that depict them might not,
Yeah, and I think, this is so Patricia Engler, the gal that we talked about, we looked over her book on a couple podcasts ago. So when I saw her speak at the Creation Museum, that was her whole speech was about dinosaurs being on the ark. And so she brought up how dinosaurs, they didn't eat meat. Like you see Jurassic Park and they ate meat, like they would eat like tough vegetables and fruit. Like, like a coconut type of deal. But that's something that's hard on the outside that they need those strong teeth to get through. And so they would have been on the ark. And then how they went extinct, like I don't think an asteroid hit the earth to make them go extinct. I think that's a theory about like that comes from the theory of evolution.
It has to be something that's true in order for evolution to halfway make sense.
Yeah. And so I think that either like hunter gatherers or like humans killed them off,
Aliens.
or alien, no. Or oh my gosh, or like just some like natural disaster killed them too. Like whether it was like a hurricane or a flood.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Like that.
I really don't know. I think it's something more. It's probably something more natural than we realize.
I think so too.
But yeah. So Job goes up. They sit there in silence for 7 days.
7 days.
Job finally speaks, and then basically how the rest of the book goes is it's like Eliphaz and then Bildad and then whatever the other guy's name was. His name.
Something weird.
Yeah, they all speak, and then Job responds, and then they all speak, and and that happens about 3 or 4 times. So, in effect, what they say most of the time is that, hey, Job, you are going through this because of the things that you've done, and it's just a false message.
Yeah.
And, like, it's amazing. I think one let's get down to points of things we can take from this. Job, we're not going to say that Job didn't question. He did question, but Job always kept his trust in God
Yeah.
through all of this. Otherwise, the devil would have won this bet or whatever. God knew his heart. He knew that he was going to stay strong through all of this.
I mean, God knew it was going to happen.
And then, so Job doesn't listen to his friends, but the message that his friends give is not is still a common message that we hear today. That our current state is because of a direct result of something we've done.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then we all deserve hell because of what we've done.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is hope. Let's focus on that. I mean, so what?
Nothing.
What are you laughing at?
No, I'm not laughing.
Okay. So our sins deserve to, have eternal punishment, but there is, for nowadays, there is and this, I make that distinction because this was still under Old Testament rule.
Yeah.
But yeah, our actions are not what get us there.
Yep. I think it's a good point.
What is one thing you take from Job?
One thing I take from Job, I think like Job repeats kind of the same phrase over and over again in the book. Is like, well, okay, what you see, they're like, well, you are experiencing a punishment from God because you have done something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And Job is saying, well, don't you see all these wicked people prospering?
Yeah.
Like, you're not always, like, that's a false thing, is that, like, every time you go through hardship is because you've done something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think something important, too, in that when the Lord comes in and speaks to all of them is that, dude, he's, like, in control.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what he's talking about. When he's bringing up all these strong animals, he's like, well, who made those animals?
Yeah.
Who laid the foundations of the earth?
And he even gets sarcastic with him at the end of the book.
Yeah.
He said, Job, are you there when the foundations of the earth were laid?
There's an awesome song that is like almost quoting the book of Job. It's called "Where Were You" by Ghost Ship.
Okay.
I think is the band name, but it's called "Where Were You." Shout out to Hodson for putting me on this song, but it's a good song, and that's what it's talking about. I was like, "Where were you the day that I laid the foundations of the earth?"
Right, and God says that simple phrase, and what he means by that is, I have so much more control over this than you think. So, is your small, or you are so weak compared to God. God has so much power over us. And then at the end of the book of Job is restored with twice as much as what he had before.
Exactly.
Is it twice, or what was that? Was that the?
I can't exactly remember. It's been like 2 years since I've read the book.
You're supposed to remember everything, scholar.
Sure. But I think that's, even if he's not God is faithful with Job, he's not just going to leave him hanging out to dry.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good point.
Does it ever talk about what happens to Job's friends after that?
I don't know. You read the book recently, so.
Well, that's what I think. I didn't think it did.
Okay. I don't know. I can't remember.
But, Job's
and this is like,
but Job, in God's response, in God's response, Job does, or God says to Job's friends, like, you gave such really bad advice.
Yeah, and I think he goes it both. I think he does it both ways. I think he's like, Job, you're wrong in this area, and you are.
But everybody was humbled through the experience.
Exactly, and then all his friends were like, dude, come on, guys, really.
So real life application.
Monday matters, as Tim always says.
Monday matters.
Monday matters.
You go first. We'll go back and forth.
I think Monday matters is, trusting God through hardship and not turning your back on him, recognizing that, he has a purpose for this pain.
Mm-hmm. Okay. God is a just God, and just because you see the wicked prosper and you're struggling doesn't mean that God isn't still in control over everything.
Yeah.
He is going to make it all right in the end, and even if you don't see that on this earth. So that's still part of trusting God, but God is not an unjust God. He's 100% just.
And also, dinosaurs were on the ark.
So they haven't been just making up these fossils. These are real.
Yeah, these fossils are real, and there's a good chance that dragons are real.
Okay.
Is that all? Do you have anything else?
I think that's it. We can
trust God. God is just. Peace out. Basic family. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Christian Campfire Conversations. I'll see you next week.